Hey ladies and gentlemen, Steven here from Redolessence. Welcome back to another video. Thank you so much for joining me today. So I know it's been some time since I've reviewed a fragrance by the brand The Harmonist. I've actually reviewed another fragrance which is part of the same collection. It's called the Moon Glory. So in this fragrance they actually pay tribute not to the moon but to the sun. This fragrance is called Sun Force. I'm very excited to give you my thoughts on this fragrance, what it smells like, tell you all about it, so make sure to stay tuned. Now, before I begin my fragrance review of Sun Force by The Harmonist, and I tell you all about this fragrance and what I think of it, what notes really come across prominently on my skin, how long it lasts, any comparisons I can make, so on and so forth, all that good stuff. I do want to mention that if you are a fan of fragrance-related content, if you like fragrance reviews just like this, but also top 10 videos, giveaways, unboxings, special guests, and more, please do consider supporting this channel by subscribing to it. And of course, if you can give this video a thumbs up, it would really mean a lot to me. And so I know the orange blossom that is used in Moon Glory is one of my favorites. It's such a complex fragrance. And here we're dealing with something that is pretty matched in terms of complexity. Same exact perfumer, Guillaume Flavigny. He's also done every other fragrance for this brand. And of course, there's Hypnotizing Fire, Yin Transformation. There are so many from the brand that I really enjoy. But here we have one that is kind of spicy. And so it has saffron, it has cardamom. It also has rose in here. I know there's a little bit of olibanum / frankincense in the base. There's also benzoin, musk, vetiver, sandalwood. It's a very complex note breakdown, but there are a couple of ingredients that I'm getting a little bit more than others. And so I'm excited to be giving you my thoughts on the smell. Let's start things off with the presentation. So right in the opening of this fragrance, the note that I get the strongest of is actually the cardamom. So cardamom has a very distinct smell for me. It's a little aromatic, it's a little herbal. Of course, it has that culinary facet about it, but I think it has a very distinct smell, especially when you're putting it up against cinnamon or clove or allspice or some other spicy ingredients. Definitely cardamom has a specific smell that you can't miss. And so in this fragrance, I'm definitely getting that cardamom. And there's a little bit of that saffron in here too. Now, interestingly enough, whenever I smell saffron, I usually equate it to the smell of leather, or what is called a leather accord in fragrances, because there's no such thing as real leather when it comes to perfume notes. And so saffron is used as a contributor to a leather accord. And so I'm getting just a touch of that in here, which leads me to believe that, okay, there is an ample amount of saffron in here because I'm noticing it. But it also has that flavorful, fruity, and slightly citrusy introduction on account of the pomelo that is used in the opening. But really, cardamom is the one note that shines through and through. And the first fragrance that I thought of was actually La Nuit de l'Homme by Yves Saint Laurent. Now, there's something about La Nuit de l'Homme that is actually a little bit more powdery than this, which was kind of a surprise because this actually has honey in it. And honey, when you smell it in fragrances like Eau du Sorel by Naomi Goodsir or Back to Black by Kilian Paris, it actually comes across smelling very powdery. So honey is one of those ingredients that does smell very powdery, but there's just something about this fragrance that doesn't come across smelling powdery to me. You get that cardamom in the opening. There's a touch of saffron, like I said. There's a little bit of a rosy nuance. And then in the base, I think the ingredient that really shines is the benzoin. And I say that because benzoin has a bit of a medicinal quality. It has a vanillic overtone, and it does have that characteristically resinous smell. When you think about galbanum and labdanum and olibanum and some of these other resins, whether it be copal or whatever, I think it does have that characteristically resinous / ambery smell. And there is something a little bit ambery happening in the base, but it's not too sweet. And that's how I know there isn't a whole lot of like vanilla or labdanum or Peru balsam or any of these other sweet ingredients happening in the base. It's really more benzoin. In terms of the vetiver, I'm not really getting a whole lot. If it's prolonging that green quality of the cardamom, I believe it. I don't get anything too musky from this either, because like I said, musk is another ingredient that I equate with powdery sometimes, especially in fragrances like White Musk by The Body Shop. I actually think that that smells very powdery, but in a clean, mass-marketed, easy-to-wear, friendly kind of a way. So basically, this is a really beautiful cardamom, slightly rosy, slightly saffrony, benzoin and woodsy type of a fragrance. And so it's hard to say that there's really just one ingredient that sits in the spotlight, because I think that they all kind of share the balance and responsibility of contributing to that overall aroma. And so I do find it to be very complex. I think if you're a fan of cardamom, you're going to really enjoy this one. This is, dare I say, like a more elegant, more mature version of La Nuit de l'Homme, without putting so much of an emphasis on the cardamom, but you know, combining it with honey and rose and saffron and sandalwood and benzoin and vetiver and musk and pomelo and all these other ingredients. And so this is a really complex fragrance. And of course, given the talent and skill and know-how of a perfumer like Guillaume Flavigny, it really comes as no surprise to me. And he's a perfumer who's really passionate about his craft. I've never had the opportunity of meeting him in person, but I actually did an Instagram live with him a few months ago that lasted about an hour, if I'm recalling correctly, and he had so much to say. He really knows his stuff. I'm also going to leave some more information about him down below if you would like to experience his vast catalog of creations. Let's go ahead and finish things off with my overall assessment. So first up, in terms of the uniqueness and the overall smell, sure, I made a few other connections to some cardamom containing fragrances and honey containing fragrances, but at the end of the day, this is a unique fragrance, and that's something that I can say about all the Harmonist fragrances. They're all very unique, and they all kind of convey their own personality, everything from Moon Glory, Moon Glory, Sun Force, Yin Transformation, Hypnotizing Fire. I've smelled everything the brand has to offer, and they're all quality through and through, and they're all very well composed. And so that's something that I really enjoy about this brand, that attention to detail, and also the quality and originality of their compositions, I think really says a lot. In terms of the longevity, you can expect about 8 hours on your skin with this one. The longevity on this one was really good for the first 2 hours of application. It never radiated beyond an arm's length, but it will get you noticed. I think a lot of those base heavy ingredients, kind of sit a little bit closer to the skin. The only ingredient in here that I think would really pop is the pomelo, but it is quite short-lived. I would say it lasts about half an hour in this fragrance, and then it kind of dissipates and those fruity, citrusy qualities really die out, but you still get that sweetness, that very mild and subtle sweetness coming from the honey, which is very enjoyable, and again, not too powdery like I mentioned earlier. In terms of the versatility, I think you can wear this one all year round. I think it's completely unisex, and I think this one is a little bit more formal and more dressed up, and I think the spicy elements kind of convey that. So this is the type of fragrance that I would like to wear maybe on a date, maybe on a night out, if I'm going to a party or a club or a bar. I don't really do any of those three things anymore. You know, when I'm looking after a young girl, you know, I find myself at home all the time, and work is pretty demanding. But in any case, I do think it has that dressed up vibe about it. And in terms of the presentation, I think it's a beautiful presentation. I love the gold color, and of course with a name like Sun Force, it has that bright, radiant, sunny feel about it. The spicy elements really convey the strength of it, the virility of it, if you will. And I think that, you know, the honey kind of adds that golden texture to the fragrance, if I can make a synesthetic connection here. But my final verdict on this fragrance is, if you are a fan of spicy and slightly sweet cardamom types of fragrances with touches of rose and resins and incense without smelling smoky, definitely give this one a try. I think you'll really like it. I really like Sun Force by the Harmonist. I think it's a beautifully composed fragrance by Guillaume Flavigny and an excellent addition to the Harmonist lineup. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining me today. That was my fragrance review of Sun Force by the Harmonist. If you own or have tried this fragrance or any other fragrance from this brand, I would love to know what you think. Leave a comment down below. Also, if you are new to this channel once again and you took something of value from this video, I would really appreciate it if you would consider supporting this channel by subscribing to it. That's all I'll ask. And also, it takes a second to give this video a thumbs up. It would mean a lot to me and it would help tremendously regarding the YouTube algorithm. Thanks again for watching. Love you all. Appreciate you all. We'll see you soon. Bye.